Hello there, it's Gail here from Ornamentology. Today I thought I'd talk to you about some two cookbooks that I've had in my collection forever. And this one's very dog-eared and very well loved and very overutilised. So we're going to start with this one. This is the Biro Book of Home Recipes. It looks like this. It's very sepia. This is what it looks like on the back. Some child is having a tea party with all their other children, and it says, should this booklet become soiled or damaged, the manufacturers will send a fresh copy free and post-free if you either write to either of the address given on the opposite page. They will also be pleased to send a copy to one of your friends if they'd like one. These recipes have been specially evolved for use with Biro's self-raising flour, and ladies are warned that unless Biro is used, satisfactory results may not be obtained. And it says, Thomas Bell and Son Limited, Biro Works, Newcastle upon Tyne, and the Biro Works in Daybrook, Nottinghamshire. And it tells you where else. And they've got, and when this book was published, they had depots in Edinburgh, Carlisle, Thornby-on-Tees, York, Aycliffe, Morley, Sheffield, Peterborough, Hull, Birmingham and Northampton. And here we are. This is the book. So there's not a lot to it. It's just basic cooking. Look at these. They are absolutely stonking. There are three, if you're making cakes, hints for making cakes, I'll give you the three useful ones here. First look to your oven. Then slightly warm and grease your baking sheet or cake tin. Have everything weighed and measured before you begin the mix. We cannot emphasize too strongly how much safer it is to weigh the dry ingredients, as they have proved by test it is impossible to measure accurately equivalent weights. So it's suggesting that you're a bit accurate with your weighing. And there's some really corking recipes. We've got griddle scones and girdle scones, or different scones, a lot of scones, I have to say. It's kind of hot cross buns, beefsteak pie. Oh, there's some corkers in here. Rich jam cake, which actually, oh, that looks terrible to be honest, but rich jam cake looks like that. I'm not so sure. I'm sorry, it might all be a bit back to front for you. To be honest, it's all a bit melting moments. Oh, it says 5 ounces. It's so old. 5 ounces of Biro flour, 3 ounces of castor sugar, 2.5 ounces of margarine, 2.5 ounces of lard. Half an egg. How the hell can you get half an egg? Teaspoon of vanilla essence, because they wouldn't have used vanilla pods, for God's sake. It was in the 1960s. Rolled oats and desiccated coconut. Do you know, there was a lot of desiccated coconut about in the 60s, wasn't there? And there you go. So what you do is, should I give you the whole recipe? Or it's not difficult. So you cream together the fats, the sugar, and beat in the half the egg and the vanilla essence. And then you stir in the flour and mix thoroughly, it says. With wet hands, form the mixture into balls the size of marbles, coat with rolled oats or desiccated coconut, plonk them on a greased baking sheet and bake in a moderate oven for 15 to 20 minutes. Decorate with small pieces of glacier cherries and it will make you 40. There you go. Melting moments from the Biro Book of Home Baking. So there, absolutely stonking. I've had it forever. It's quite something else. It's all in sepia. It's a shame I don't eat wheat anymore, isn't it? And then there's this beast, the Dairy Book of Home Cooking. Now, this came out in the 70s. I was a teenager when this came out, and I'll show you some of here we are. Some of the images. This is how they used to make cookery books in those times. And my late father, or my father, he used to work for Pinchbeck Dairies, and he used to drive a big lorry containing crates of milk in milk bottles and yogurts and whatnot that took from Pinchbeck Dairies to Boston Dairy, the branch in Boston, and he went up and down twice to keep Boston and Skegness supplied with milk from that particular dairy. And you had to collect so many, if you got this from your milkman, you had to collect so many bottle tops, I think, you know, there's all 4 bottle tops from your milk bottles, and you could and send them off and you got this book. But because he worked at the place where they used to bottle them, my sister, myself and my mum had one each. There was 2 of these. There was another one that was about caring for your home, I think, if I remember rightly. I might have got that confused with something else, but I'm sure there was 2. But this has stayed with me. And do you know what? I used the jam section and the flapjack section. The flapjack section is phenomenal. 4 ounces of butter. This is 3 ounces of golden syrup, 3 ounces of soft brown sugar and 8 ounces of rolled oats. But because it was in the 70s, it's also got it in grams as well. And then it's so easy, it's unbelievable. But the recipes in here are tried, tested and approved, and as you can see, it's had a lot of use and love. It's all fallen to bits and gone all yellow because it's, you know, 50 years old, for God's sake. I mean, it's weird, isn't it, when you pass a certain number, how yesterday doesn't seem like 50 years ago, but here you are. So yeah, so those are my go-to. If anybody says, have you got a recipe for scones, I always go to this B-Row book. And everything else is this jam section, puddings, you know, everything. It's all in here. You could do a whole dinner party, thank you very much, from the 70s, from this very book. Why you'd want to, I have no idea, but you could if you wanted to. You often see them in charity shops for next to nothing, but those ones have got a special memory for me. I think my godmother gave me this. She was an Irish lady, she was quite interesting, but she gave me that. So there we are. Thank you very much for your time again, and if you want to hear more of this nonsense, just subscribe in the usual ways. Tell your friends if you know you either think they might be remotely interested in this. Pass it along to someone else. Take good care of yourselves, and thank you very much for your time. Bye bye now.